Okay, so for those of you who have met me or haven't met me yet, I'm Victoria Waco. I usually just go by Miss Vicky for ease of operation for the kids. But I have been here just over a year as Faith Formation Director. Prior to that, I worked for 8 years in a Diocese of Rochester doing Faith Formation. Prior to that, I did 3 years as a youth minister. So I actually love middle schoolers, true story. And then when I first moved to the littles, as I call them, I was kind of like, I don't know if I can do littles. I had done teenagers from the time I was like 19 until I started at my last parish, and then I just fell in love with it. And my husband is an Auburn native, so that is how you have gotten me. My stepkids are now in college, but when we met and got married, I made the decision to move out here, and I actually did the commute to Rochester for 7 years because I did love what I did so very much. And then when the position here opened up, I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I think I can be really, really happy there. So that's how you ended up getting me. I love just the ha-ha moments kids have in Faith Formation because it's just such an ongoing journey. So tonight, what we're basically going to do is I'm going to go over just kind of how the program will work, kind of the flow of the year, if you will, answer any questions you guys might have, and then kind of explain to you moving forward how family formation. I love family formation. This is what my primary, our mode was at my last parish, was doing family formation, and I just saw how it helped to build community so beautifully, so I'm excited for you guys to try it out this year. One of the things I always say is, like, I'll talk about the programs we use. I love the programs we use because I do think they're very user-friendly. However, if you're working at home and you're like, this is not working, my child's having issues, or they're just not connecting with the materials, I am not above throwing out what we have right now and figuring out something new for them. So as you're working through stuff, never be scared to say, hey, this isn't connecting, or they're not connecting with the materials. I'm always happy. One of the benefits to me doing this so long is I've used lots of programs and used lots of things, so I'm always happy to, if needed, switch things up for people. A little bit just kind of like my philosophy of Faith Formation, and this is on our website too, but I always say that I just believe that the job of Faith Formation is to help just move to the next point of your Faith Formation journey. I always see my job is to try to help your kids fall in love with Jesus and be partners with you in that, because especially in this program, a lot of what you're doing at home is just going to help to reinforce all of that. I also always say too, especially for our home-based families, I have something lovely called the Miss Vicky card. You all have my email. You have we'll talk about the reminder, but you can always send me questions. So if you're working with your kid, or this happens all the time, you are talking about one topic, and they will ask a question about something totally different about their faith, and you're like, that is not on the page of the book we are looking at. You can always use the Miss Vicky card or the Father Brian card and say, let's email Miss Vicky, or when we see Father Brian at Mass, let's ask him, because I love answering questions. He loves it too, and he loves when kids ask him questions, so never be scared to do that. A couple of, these are kind of like the values that I always, for all of our programming, that I always try to keep front and center. So obviously safety is very important to us, and always, everything we do. One of my gifts, I guess, in the world is I can work through logistically how to move a lot of children around and figure out how to do it calmly and safely. So also sharing Jesus, of course, number one, through the Eucharist, through preparation, through just learning more about God, and then also having fun. So a lot of times, especially for family-based, we'll do stations. They'll have different activities that are more hands-on, using different types of intelligence to learn more. And then, of course, family. I totally get that. I get your kids maybe a couple hours in total of them working on Faith Formation. You're with them every single day. So as much as I can partner with you and help support everything you're doing at home, I really want to do that. So never be scared to reach out to me on different things. Okay, how the format of this program works. So Family Faith Formation is a little different than a classroom model. So we have one monthly gathering a month. and you have them listed on your sheet. So it's usually the last Sunday of the month, and they're always usually around 5:30 to 7. Our trunk or treat will be a little earlier. Remember the safety part so that we can get it all done before it gets too dark. I always promise you'll be out of here, if not by 7, hopefully a little earlier than 7, because I call 7 o'clock the witching hour, where all of a sudden kids kind of become little gremlins. And so I try to get you home as close to 7 as humanly possible. You'll notice, like in December, we don't have a session. In February, we don't, but we'll do some type of activity this month. It's just that those fall on the holiday weeks, and I know a lot of people will be gone. So I'll either get you like a packet of things to do at home as like an extra thing, or there'll still be some type of enrichment those months. It's just that with the way the calendar works, they were not good weekends to do anything. So that is the full calendar, and then on the top too, you'll see some of the extra things we have going on. Anyone who has pets, I have 3 cats. We're doing a blessing of the pets next Sunday after the 10:15 mass. Hopefully my cats make it, because they might actually need exorcisms instead of just a blessing. I love them, but they're crazy. Prayer experiences, so 1 family gathering a month, 2 prayer experiences. What I mean by that is trying to pray together as a family, coming to mass. I just asked, in all of the programs we're using, there's some type of prayer component, so just trying to do something prayer, maybe just adding grace in, making sure you say grace at dinner. Because some of those are like the habits that will matter the most long term and the things they'll actually remember years from now. And 3 is the at-home lessons. So try to, if you can, do 3 out of the 4 lessons per month at home. So in your packet, you'll see for Plum Gospel Weeklies, you have like a weekly handout. I'm gonna steal someone's who isn't here to show you. Because I know they won't mind. And for my First Communion, First Reconciliation families, it actually works out to be 2 a month for you, but they're a little longer too, so it ends up being about the same. So in the packet, what you'll see is something called the Flam Gospel Weekly, and they are, you pull the one off, and this is like the packet for that week. A lot of it they can do very independently. You do have underneath, again, I always give you the cheat sheets, any version of the program. For my First Reconciliation, First Communion families, yours is a purple book. For my other families, it's this packet, but you get the cheat sheet that has all the answers in it. So try to, as much as you can, for my First Reconciliation, First Communion families, 2 a month is like goals, 2 chapters a month. For everyone else, if you can get 3 out of the 4 done, that's amazing. However, I also know that sometimes life's and it gets a little crazy. And so with that, if every month you'll do a check-in. If you only get 2 done that month, that's okay. Something is better than nothing. Getting progress done is better than nothing. So never feel like, oh no, we didn't do all of our work, we shouldn't go. Always come. And I do like the Flam because they are pretty user-friendly in the sense that what I like about them and what families have told me who have used them at my other parish is sometimes it's just one sheet or like a little packet, so they can do it on their way to soccer. They can do it on their way home from a sporting event. So for reconciliation and communion, if you can, I always like it if you do it at the dinner table, because especially when you get into Eucharist and we talk about the meal that we share at Mass, it kind of ties in, but that is only like, again, these are perfect world scenarios, and we don't live in a perfect world. We live in real life where sometimes it means ripping out the pages and doing it in the car on the way to the next activity. So that, like I said, this is everything being perfect, but know that I know that some months will be a little crazier than others, and especially with reconciliation, maybe like September's gonna be crazy. I'm only gonna get 1 chapter done, and I'll do extra in November. So what it looks like when we come together. So every group session will start with a potluck potluck meal and a prayer together. So we'll always start praying as a small community. I'll do like an overview of whatever the lesson or theme is for that month, and then a lot of times we'll break out into either stations and or grade level activities. So usually they're grouped by grades, like K1 might be together, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. But a lot of times, and you'll do usually stations that are set up, so there's something biblical, there's something hands-on. I also will always, if you have littlers at home, I always put extra coloring pages and stuff out, so never feel like you can't bring the whole family with you to do this. The whole family is welcome to come and participate. And if you have older kids, I might put them to work, quite honestly, helping with stations, but they're always welcome to come. Okay, playlist. Before I get to that, questions on the program, or like the handouts like you have so far. I'll do questions again at the end, but I also, if you can't tell, my last name is Ukrainian, thanks to my husband, but I'm from an Italian family, which means I talk very loud and sometimes very fast, because in my household, that was the easiest way to be heard a lot of times. So you can always like stop me and be like, pause. Playlists are something new we have this year. And when I talked about those 2 prayer experiences a month, one thing you might want to explore are our playlists. Let me see if I can pull up. They're right on our website. So under Faith Formation, you just go to playlist. And what we have this year is exploring a saint each month. And we do have a bonus of St. Patrick for March, because I couldn't not do St. Patrick in March. But I also wanted to do St. Joseph's, because St. Joseph's Day is in March. And under each one, like for example, we're doing St. Francis for October, his feast day is then. It gives you scriptures, and you can just click on them to read them. There are different levels of videos for different ages, talking about St. Francis. There are songs around him. So the Hippo song, if you have littles, it's a VBS favorite of mine. It's very cute, but it's all about creation, how God created all the animals. There are discussion questions you could do, and then always I give you like little hints and stuff in there. Prayers you can say. A lot of families were asking for like ways to do service during, even for smaller ages. So these will give you a ton of ideas of how to incorporate service that connect to that saint. These are just all extra things. Some are more books you can buy, some are extra activities. So if they're really interested in one of the saints, you can go a little deeper. And then there's some stuff that's more higher level for a parent if you're curious about learning more about that saint. So this is a nice little extra resource you can explore if you're looking for things, or if they're asking about, like obviously in December we have St. Nicholas, so if you're having trouble explaining like who St. Nicholas is, there's plenty of things to help you. And if there's a saint that your child wants to know more about, you can always send that to me, because I'm always looking for like ideas for more to add. But that can be a really easy like prayer resource. So you can choose to listen to one of the songs or see one of the prayers as kind of one of your prayer activities for that month. Okay, staying connected. So I will try to communicate and put as much into like condensed things as I can. So every week I'll send out an email. In there there'll be reminders of anything happening in the parish. There'll be the sign-ups for the potlucks. And how we break it up is usually like we'll ask 2 to 3 families to bring a certain serving of a main dish, a side or a salad, and then like a dessert. So it's a full meal, and we will provide all the paper products and all the drinks for those. With those 2, if you have a child who has a lot of allergies, or you have a lot of allergies, I totally understand. You're welcome to still come for that part, but if you want to bring your own food, you're absolutely allowed to. We have like a full kitchen, so you can like warm things up if you feel, more comfortable with that. If it's something where you don't want them around any food, just give me a call. We can always have you come in a little late. I've had families who've had to do that because of major like peanut allergies and stuff, but we will work around whatever we have to with you. But that will all be in the weekly email. The other thing that will be in the weekly email is not a believer in testing kids, especially when it comes to faith. I want this to be something that they are enjoying and learning. I don't want it to be another course that they feel like they're taking or a test they have to pass. So in place of a test review for each chapter, what I have is a monthly check-in that you'll do. And in that, you only do one per family. Some of it will just ask you about how things are going, because I don't see you as much as I see my weekly families. If there's something like going on in your family you want to let me know, you can always call or email me, but you can also put it in the form. And then I'll just ask, like, how did the things go? What questions are your kids asking? Because sometimes too, if a lot of kids are asking similar questions, that might be like, okay, let's switch a topic out for one of the months and focus more on that. Or if there's resources I can send you on topics, I want to be able to do that. So it really is not a test, it's just a check-in for me to kind of feel how everyone's doing. Because, right, this is a journey and this is a process, so not everyone's at the same place in their faith journey at the exact same time. The Remind text group, which you have a sheet to sign up for it, that I use really more for like anything major and or emergency. So we meet on Sunday nights. Even my AM classes meet in the mornings on Sundays. I don't have a school. Usually I always used to say when we had nighttime week classes, right? If there's no school, we don't have faith formation. You can't do that with Sunday programming. So I live in Weedsport, which also means I live slightly farther away from all of you, and sometimes the weather in Weedsport is very different than the weather here. So also never hesitate or feel like you're bothering me if it's Saturday, and you're like, hey, weather's not looking great. Are we still meeting? Because you might have a better eye on what the weather is like here than I do even. But especially for weather things, I'll always send out a text too, because I don't want anyone to miss that info. With that though, if anyone is sick or if the weather is bad right where you are, one, please do not share germs, and two, always just do what's best for your family. For the monthly gatherings, I'll always send out a summary after, and I'll attach any activities we did, so if you're not able to come. But especially with illness, no one needs to share germs. Please don't. And just know, like, I'd rather you be healthy and at home than, your child being miserable and trying to work through an activity they just don't feel like doing. And also Gretchen, who is my admin and also our secretary here, works really hard on our socials. So if you're not following our Facebook and Instagram, please do that, because she posts really fun things all the time, and even things about different prayers and different devotionals that are in the church. So it's just a nice extra resource. All right, and then yes, special events. So the pet blessing is next. Trunk or treat's going to be all families are welcome to it, not just us. So you can invite friends to that. Advent wreath making, they're still finalizing the details, but that will be a really fun, we'll talk about Advent and all that, and you all will go home with an Advent wreath. And then St. Nicholas will be visiting the church again, December 6th and 7th, so bring an extra shoe or slipper to Mass that day, and he might leave you a treat. And then lots of other stuff. The Christmas pageant also we're doing again this year, so lots of fun extra things that you can be involved in, and that will always also be in the weekly email and all the sign-ups for those items too. All right, I went fast. Questions?
The workbook sheets, are you going to hand them out, or is it a monthly thing?
So these ones are, so the one difference is because you have a second grader, you have a slightly different program, so you have everything. These ones are for the other grade levels. Technically, second graders are supposed to be doing these and the reconciliation first communion books. I've always personally found that is way too overwhelming. And I know the materials are in the reconciliation and communion group, and they still hit all the major topics the diocese asked me to cover. So I don't want to make you guys do double work, so I just kind of condense it down to one thing for you. But for the other grades, yeah, so, this just is like a one pager that goes over kind of like how to have them work through it. If you have kids who are using the same grade level, cause like the older grades all use ventures, I've had families before where the oldest kid kind of teaches the younger child. If you have dynamics, and that works. That does not work for every family, I know. But I always say too, or if you have an older kid at school, at home, having them work through it with the youngers, because they actually will still learn more by helping another student learn. But if you only have one, and or it will just not work to have them work together, I totally understand that too. I'll also be sending you, there are like cute little videos to go with the Flawed Gospel Weeklies, and some videos that go with the Reconciliation First Eucharist program. So I'll send you out links to those like monthly as they pop up. So that's also another resource, but I also know that sometimes having a video is awesome, and sometimes it can end up being more of a distraction. So I would say they're tools for you, but you know your kids better than I do. So like if you're like, no, that video will just put them on YouTube, and then they'll like start clicking on all sorts of other things, because that can happen, right? But if it's helpful, definitely they'll be there for you to use too. Anything else? All right. If again, I'm available. If you ever want to meet with me, I'm in the office usually normal hours, 8:30 to 4 every day. But if you work full time and after, you know, like 5 o'clock works better for you, just shoot me a message, and we can definitely sort out a time and based on schedules. And I'm willing to stay at night to meet with anyone as things come up too. So never feel like you're bothering me. That's why I'm here, is to be your resource and your help through all of this. All right, thank you all so much. If you have individual questions, I will be around. I'm just gonna stop the video so everyone who watched it at home